අධ්‍යාපනයේ නිම්බලලු පුළුල් කරන්නට අනුරාධපුර ගල්කඩවල ගල්පොත්තේකම විද්‍යාලයේ යටිතල පහසුකම් ගම්මැත්තෙන් සංවර්ධනය කර සිසු අයිතියට පත් කළ වගයි. ගම්මැත්ත රට නගන ජනපෞර.
Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1 for the News First, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon. India must be a developed nation within 25 years. Prime Minister Modi sets goal for 2047. Opposition to chair COPA, COPE and Committee on Public Finance. Nurachole Unit 1 breaks down. Main gunman working for underworld Don Harakata arrested. Delegation of US lawmakers arrive in Taiwan. On to those stories in detail. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, leading the celebrations for 75 years of independence today, set the people of India a series of goals for the next 25 years.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 75th Independence Day of India said the country must become a developed nation before it marks the centenary of independence. In his address, PM Modi called upon the people to move forward with 5 pledges to fulfill the dreams of freedom fighters by 2047, a theme President Draupadi Murmu has also underscored it in her speech on the eve of Independence Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the 5 pledges for 2047 are having developed India, removing any sign of servility, pride in heritage, unity and fulfilling our duties. The celebration had started with PM Modi's visit to Rajghat, where he paid homage to Mahatma Gandhi. After arriving at the Red Fort, he examined the inter-services and police guard of honor and hoisted the national flag. The celebrations for 75 years of independence are being marked by a mega program, the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which started in March 2021. The day will be observed by flag hoisting and other events. The Indo-Tibetan border police personnel has scaled 75 peaks simultaneously today as Mission Amritarohan and hoisted the national flag atop those 75 peaks as a distinguished record. In a first, the government has also allowed people to display the flag at their homes for 3 days. Extensive security arrangements have been made across the national capital. More than 10,000 personnel have been deployed to guard the Red Fort in a multi-layered security cover. Facial recognition system cameras have been installed at the entry point.
17 helicopters कार्यक्रम स्थल के नजदीक आते हुए और पुष्प वर्षा कर रहे हैं.
The Pakistan Navy ship Taimur, which arrived in Sri Lanka on a formal visit, is scheduled to conduct a passage exercise with SLNS Sindhurala in seas off Colombo as she departs the island on the 15th of August 2022 upon completion of a visit.
Sri Lanka Navy, with the concurrence of foreign navies, conducts passage exercise as a route engagement when they are visiting naval ships departing the island after making official port calls. As part of this passage exercise, PNS Taimur and SLNS Sidurala are expected to conduct maneuvering exercises and research and rescue exercise. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Navy has conducted similar passage exercises with the navies of countries such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Japan, Germany, UK, Russia and Australia on a number of previous occasions.
The Yuan 5, a Chinese research and survey vessel, was seen moving away from Sri Lanka on Monday morning, despite being granted permission to dock at the port of Hambantota on Tuesday.
Yuan 5, a Chinese research and survey vessel in China's research vessel fleet, was granted clearance to call at the Hambantota port on Tuesday. The vessel was located 212 nautical miles away from Sri Lanka this morning.
A U.S. congressional delegation has arrived for an unannounced visit to Taiwan, 12 days after a tour of the island by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Washington's de facto embassy in the capital Taipei said 5 members of Congress will visit. China launched its largest ever military exercise around Taiwan after Pelosi's visit earlier in August. Beijing sees the self-governing island as its own and a territory that must be reunited with the mainland. It believes that mission could be necessary with force if other attempts at unification are unsuccessful. Pelosi became the most senior American politician to visit the island in 25 years during her appearance earlier this month. Her brief but controversial stopover was labelled manic, irresponsible and irrational by the Chinese foreign minister. Beijing continues to carry out military drills in the island. Early yesterday, Taipei said it had detected 22 Chinese aircraft and 6 naval ships in and around the Taiwan Strait.
In more local news, Sri Lanka's Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, announced that there has been a breakdown in Unit 1 of the Nurachole power plant.
The Norachole power plant produces a total of 900 megawatts of power using 3 generators that produce 300 megawatts each. The second generator at the Norachole power plant was removed from operation recently due to a maintenance. Only 300 megawatts of power can be produced by the power plant as a result of another generator malfunctioning. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara notes that the power supply now should be managed using the West Coast and other power plants. He further noted that the technical committee is currently in process of identifying the issue for the malfunction.
Samagi Jana Balawegaya has nominated its members for the post of chairman of the Committee on Public Enterprise and Committee on Public Accounts.
According to the Speaker, Mahinda Yapabewardena, the SJB has already handed over the names for the positions. He also said other political parties are yet to propose their candidates for the positions. According to the Speaker, chairman for the relevant committees will be appointed on the next parliament date.
Already Harsha De Silva has been appointed to the Committee on Public Finance. For COPE and COPA, we have recommended the names of Eran Vikramaratne and Kabir Hashim. We are expecting the confirmation on these will be received during this week. The 2-week court vacation for Sri Lankan courts begins today.
The Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal will again function from the 31st of August 2022. However, writ applications and fundamental rights applications can be submitted. During the court vacation, only 1 out of 9 magistrate courts will function. Suspects who are to be produced to the 4th Magistrates Court will be directed to the acting magistrate for Halsdorf. During this period, suspects arrested by police will be produced to court, in addition to remand extensions and granting bail.
Aragale activist Danish Ali, who was arrested for unlawfully entering the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation and interrupting its broadcast, was released on bail. Aragale activist Danish Ali was released on a cash bail of 25,000 rupees and 2 personal bails of 500,000 rupees each. The order was made by Colombo Chief Magistrate Nandana Marusingha. Aragale activist Danish Ali was produced in court by the Department of Prisons, and the suspect was ordered to visit the Cinnamon Gardens police and provide a statement.
ඉන්දියාව මෙරටට ලබා දෙන බවට එකඟ වී තිබූ ඩෝනිය 228 සමුද්‍රීය නිරීක්ෂණ ගුවන් යානය මෙරටට පැමිණ ඇති බවට මේ වන විට තොරතුරු වාර්තා වෙනවා. කටුනායක ගුවන් තොටුපොළ වෙතයි මෙම යානය මේ වන විට පැමිණ තිබෙන්නේ. මේ අවස්ථාව සඳහා ජනාධිපති රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතාත් ඒ වගේම ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ඉන්දිය මහ කොමසාරිස්වරයාට සහභාගී වී සිටින බව අපට තොරතුරු වාර්තා වෙනවා. අදට යෙදී ඇති ඉන්දිය නිදහස් දිනයට සමගාමීවයි ශ්‍රී ලංකාව වෙත ඉන්දියාවෙන් මෙය ලබා දෙන්නේ. ඉන්දිය රජය මගින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා රජය වෙත මෙවැනි යානා 3ක් ලබා දීමට නියමිතව තිබෙනවා. එහි පළමු යානයයි අද දවසේදී ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට පැමිණ තිබෙන්නේ. 2018 වසරේ නවදිල්ලි නුවරදී දෙරටේ ආරක්ෂාව පිළිබඳව පැවති සාකච්ඡාවකදී ශ්‍රී ලංකාව කළ ඉල්ලීමකට අනුව මෙම යානාව ආරම්භක වසර දෙක සඳහා නොමිලේ ලබා දීමට ඉන්දියාව එහිදී එකඟතාව පළ කර තිබුණා. අදාළ ගුවන් යානය දෙවසරකට නොමිලේ ලබා දෙන්නේ නව ගුවන් යානයක් නිෂ්පාදනය කිරීම සඳහා වසර දෙකක පමණ කාලයක් ගතවන නිසා මෙම යානය ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට පැමිණියා අද එක් යානයක් තවත් යානා දෙකක් ලබා දීමට නියමිතව තිබෙනවා. සමුද්‍ර නිරීක්ෂණ, ඔත්තු බැලීම්, මුදා ගැනීම ආදී කටයුතු සඳහා මෙම යානාව යොදා ගැනීමට හැකියාව තිබෙන බවයි තොරතුරු වාර්තා වන්නේ. ඉන්දිය නාවික හමුදාවට අයත් ඩෝනිය 228 සමුද්‍රීය නිරීක්ෂණ ගුවන් යානයක් තමයි මෙලෙස ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට හිමි වන්නේ.
The breaking news: India handed over a drone aircraft to the Sri Lankan military on Monday. Earlier this year, Sri Lanka was in talks with India to acquire 3 drone aircraft for the Sri Lankan military, and the first delivery will be made to the island nation on Monday, when India usher in its 75th year of independence on August 15, 2022. The first ever drone aircraft from India to enhance the maritime surveillance capabilities of Sri Lanka was inducted to Sri Lanka Air Force Fleet on 15th of August 2022 in a ceremonial procession. Locals in Mahyanganaya claim that wild elephants continue to roam in the area, posing a risk to the people living in the area.
Wild elephants roaming in Mahyanganaya caused serious damage to the paddy and other crop cultivations in the area. Locals claim that the herd of wild elephants reached Mahyanganaya from Waskamua, Maduroya and Randanigala forest reserves. CCTV cameras captured the intrusion of wild elephants to a local village recently.
Up next is a special segment, Crime Watch.
Crime Watch.
Sri Lanka police arrested a suspect connected to shooting dead a florist in Middenia recently. A T-56 assault rifle, a magazine with 17 rounds were discovered from the possession of the suspect. Meanwhile, another suspect who aided and abetted the assassination was also arrested. A shooter working for notorious underworld Don Harakata was arrested by police last night in Bodlaskamua. Police yesterday confirmed that the notorious underworld criminal gang leader Nadun Chintaka, also known as Harakata, was arrested in Dubai. Police said that the 27-year-old suspect, identified as Prabodha Kumara alias Khadira, was arrested from a house in Bodlaskamua, adding that he was using the location as a safe house to carry out a contract issued by Harakata. According to police, Khadira is connected to a series of crimes. The suspect, on the instructions of Harakata, shot and injured 2 men in Baligama, identified as Chuti Mama and Roshan alias Jaka. The police also said that the suspect was wanted for rape, murder and theft, adding that a locally manufactured firearm, 3 live rounds and 17 grams of heroin was seized from his possession. The suspect was handed over to the Matara Crimes Prevention Division for further investigations.
Crime Watch.
Certain government projects implemented without any standards have resulted in a loss of public funds with zero return on investments. A prime example that proves this was reported to Newsfirst from a greenhouse project in Valimara Divisional Secretariat.
Several years ago, a greenhouse project to cultivate vegetables was introduced in the Valimata Divisional Secretariat, centering 37 families covering Heliyal Kumura, Kande Puhulpola, Vagiya Kumura, Vangiya Kumura and Boralanda areas. Although the project was started by providing greenhouses, it was not continued as a result of the ban imposed on fertilizer, pesticides, weedicides and agrochemicals. In addition, the farmers allege that the greenhouses are not of proper standards. They claim that as a result of this present situation, they are facing a situation of going bankrupt as they cannot even meet their basic loan installments.
Next is News in Brief.
The Ruhunu Kumari train had derailed in Booster this morning. The Department of Railways says measures have been taken to restore the train, and until such time operations along the coastal line may be disrupted. The revised postal charges will come into effect today. Accordingly, postage charges for normal letters will be 50 rupees. The Postal Department says the new price for registered post is 60 rupees from today. The postage charges on parcels have also been revised.
The Ministry of Education has decided to open all government and government-approved private schools on all 5 days of the week, starting today.
This decision was taken at a meeting held recently under the auspices of Education Minister Susil Premajayantha, where the provincial authorities have been instructed to prepare a suitable transport program for principals, teachers and students in areas with transportation difficulties. It has been decided to use the next 3 months only for academic activities. The Ministry of Education has decided to carry out extracurricular activities after school hours, and school festivities should also be restricted. The National Transport Commission says that a special bus service is in operation for school students and teachers in addition to the Sisu Sariya service.
A workshop organized by the medical students of the General Sir John Kothalawala Defence University was held at the Dharmarama College in Mount Lavinia yesterday. The workshop discussed rising school dropouts due to the current educational system, motivating students to continue their school studies and counseling regarding psychosocial issues of children. Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Indika Mudalige, psychologist Tina Solomons and attorney at law L.S. Kularatna took part in the workshops. Shifting your attention to international news, it has been a year since the fall of Afghanistan's government and the return to power of the Taliban.
The lightning advance on Kabul prompted scenes of chaos at the airport as people tried to flee, and over 120,000 were airlifted out of the country in the days that followed. In the year since, the UN has warned the combination of conflict, pandemic, drought and restriction of foreign aid has left 23 million people at risk of hunger and starvation. As feared, the Taliban's restrictions on women were quickly reinstated, including a ban on girls being able to go to secondary school. However, Taliban officials say women are still working. Those who do are mainly medical staff, educators and security workers, including at the airport, spaces where women are frequent.
World leaders will meet at the UN in New York later for more talks to save the world's oceans from overexploitation.
The UN High Seas Treaty has been through 10 years of negotiations but has yet not been signed. If agreed, it would put 30% of the world's oceans into conservation areas by 2030. Campaigners hope it will protect marine life from overfishing and other human activities. 2/3 of the world's ocean are currently considered international waters, which means all countries have a right to fish, ship and do research there. But only 1.2% of these high seas, as they are referred to, are protected. This leaves leaves the marine life living there at risk of exploitation from the increasing threats of climate change, overfishing and shipping traffic.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of the stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanes, and you take care and stay safe.
ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන් දත්ත වැඩියෙන් සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කළඹන වුවත් සලකුණ News First YouTube channel එක අදම subscribe කරන්න News First